Alright everyone, how are we doing today? So I could not fully verify this story, so please take this with a grain of salt. But also take it somewhat seriously. But this article is from Reuters, a trusted news source. Countries restricting media freedom must pay the price, says UK's Jeremy Hunt. Excuse me for a second. That felt good. That's the soda talking. London Reuters. Countries that restrict media freedom must be made to pay a price, or a diplomatic price. British Foreign Minister Jeremy Hunt said on Wednesday, as he warned about a deteriorating situation in China and elsewhere. He said China employed millions of people to censor content, produce fake social media posts, and manipulate online output. Man, if they can do that, shit. China's becoming scary these days, I'm telling you, man. He says, if we could act together, we can shine a spotlight on abuses and impose a diplomatic price on those who harm journalists, or lock them up for doing the jobs, Hunt said, without elaborating on the measures that could be taken. Without elaboration, yeah, you mention a problem, then don't give a solution. That's a classic political move. China announced a new campaign last month to clean up its internet, said in November. It had shut nearly 10,000 accounts of new providers deemed to be posting sensational, vulgar, or politically harmful content. Hunt, underdog in the race to succeed Theresa May as British Prime Minister, said countries should not succumb to fatalism in response to attacks on media freedom, such as the murder of Jamal Khashoggi in Saudi Arabia's consulate in Istanbul. His comments at a conference in London were echoed by human rights lawyer Amal Clooney, a British special envoy on media freedom. She criticized world leaders for shrugging off the murder of Saudi journalist Khashoggi and criticized U.S. President Donald Trump. Today, the country of former James Madison has a leader who vilifies the media, making honest journalists all over the world more vulnerable to abuse. Trump regularly mounts attacks on the news media and political opponents on Twitter. He says he can bypass what he labels unfair media coverage by speaking directly using social media. Hunt also said he disagreed with Trump's use of language toward journalists. The Media Freedom Conference was hosted by Britain with the Canadian government and attended by delegations from more than 100 countries. It aimed to defend media freedom from restrictive practices by governments, encourage participants to develop plans to legislate for a free press, help improve journal safety, and counter disinformation. But now, of course, these people don't understand what the media situation is here in the United States, okay? Trump has made no moves to make journalists feel unsafe or make their jobs any more dangerous. He simply stated that he does not trust the mainstream media. Hell, I don't trust the mainstream media. You shouldn't trust the mainstream media. Because in the United States, our mainstream media, our CNN, our NBC, they always have to put a spin on everything. They always have to spin a web of lies. They put a bent on it to make it look a certain way in order to push a narrative. You might not necessarily have that going on over in Europe. And even if you do, it may not be as prevalent within your country. This is something that has been going on for years. Trump is simply calling them out. He has not placed any restriction on their freedom of speech whatsoever. So don't even try to paint him as trying to restrict them or use disinformation. He's simply telling you that the mainstream media cannot be trusted, to which I agree. But on certain things, he can't really be trusted that much either. But no, if they want to start putting penalties on countries that restrict media freedom, honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. Depending on what it is. If you want to make trade deals with them more expensive, or if you want to do something like that, fine. But if you want to do something that violates their national sovereignty, absolutely not. And certainly nothing that could be perceived as an act of war. But if you want to make yourself a difficult partner to deal with, it might make them think twice. Either way, it's pretty messed up. I wouldn't put it past the country that wanted to attack China to save it from itself. I think it would be a really stupid thing to do, but I'd understand why they'd want to do it. Still, this should be interesting to see what happens if they really start trying to enforce penalties on countries that restrict media freedom. It might be a good thing, might be a bad thing, but one thing for certain, don't mistake Trump for trying to restrict the media. He's simply calling them out on their bullshit. If you don't understand the situation, then don't say a thing. Capiche? Alright. We're cool then. See ya.